Hello, how are you? This is Linda in England, and are you ready for the lesson? Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Here it is. So, another session about literature, and this is based on a true story. Again, you will need to pause the video sometimes to do the tasks in pairs. Any questions you have, you can write in the WhatsApp group and I will answer them later. Okay? Okay, so let's begin. Firstly, can you remember any of the poems we looked at last week? In pairs, please talk about what you remember and tell your partner about what you learnt last week. Okay, pause the video, 5 minutes to talk. Okay, let's continue. Did you remember any of them? Which ones do you remember best? Which ones did you like best? The thing about poems is that people have their favorites. Some people like some types of poems, some people like other types. Okay, so today we're going to look at reading a true story, but we're going to do some other things with the text as well as reading it. So we're going to start by speaking, predicting, then go to reading, vocabulary, error correction, a bit of work on pronouns, and then a tiny bit of writing. And the topic is rethinking disability. So your first task is to speak. And we have 3 questions. First, why is the title of this story Rethinking Disability? So why rethinking? What do you think? And why is the dis in brackets? Just discuss what you understand by that. B, disability in Guinea-Bissau. How do people see disability? How do people speak about it, act around it? And Paralympics. Did you see any of the Paralympics? 5 minutes to discuss. Please pause the video now. Okay, ready? Yeah, it's, everyone needs to rethink disability because the ability is more important than the disability. That's why it's in brackets, because it's less important, according to the text we're going to read. You know how you see disability in Guinea-Bissau. I was very happy once when I was there to see the wheelchair basketball in the center of Bissau, in a big sports stadium. Very good. And the Paralympics, the Olympics for people with disabilities, are amazing, and people are so able. They have special skills. Let's read about someone. Right, the first question, before we read, I want you to predict what we're going to read. The more you know about a story or a text before you read it, the more you're going to understand. So this helps us teach as well. So there's only one question. What do you think are the biggest problems for people with disabilities? A, B, or C? 5 minutes, pause the video, talk to your partner now. Okay, we're going to read quickly. I'm not going to give you much time. I want to, I know you like to read slowly, but I want to try to get you to read quicker to help students to read quicker as well. So don't read every word. Just skim through very quickly. I'm going to show you the 3 slides with the text on and see if you can discover which is the biggest problems, which is the biggest problem, A, B, or C. Okay, so don't pause the screen yet. I'm going to control the speed of reading. See what the biggest problem is. Ready? The first slide. Okay, you can see a picture of him. 1 minute each. Don't read every word. Find out what he thinks. The first slide. Okay, next, second slide. Okay, and finally, the third slide. Okay. Okay, I know that was really quick, and that's the point. It's a really good idea to skim through a text first before you read it for detail. And the more we practice this, the easier it will be. I don't know how difficult that was for you. What do you think the author thinks the biggest problems are? A, B, or C? The answer is C. He thinks the biggest thing is fighting to convince others that they can do things. Again, he is in the UK, so it's very different from Guinea-Bissau, where there's not so much support. But it's interesting to read a story about someone with a disability. Okay, we'll come back to that later. Now, I want you to match the vocabulary in red with the definition in purple. Okay, so let's start. Number 1, which is the definition for number 1, quadriplegic. So again, you have to look through the definitions quickly and choose one. Number 1 is C. Quadriplegic means when both legs and both arms are paralyzed and can't move. So both legs, both arms, quadriplegic. Yeah, it's a terrible condition. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes in pairs. Please match all the others, write down the numbers and the letters that match them, and pause the video while you do it. Okay. Okay, ready? Easy, difficult? Let's have a look. Here is the answer. So 1 is C, 2 is F, 3 is A, 4 is E, 5 B, 6 D, 7 H, and 8 is G. This again is a good way of practicing reading quickly for a purpose to match vocabulary with definitions. Like looking them up in dictionaries, but it's easier because you don't have to find the word. Good reading practice for our students as well. Okay. Now we have more questions, and I'm going to give you time to read the text again, more slowly. Okay? So Can you take a picture of these questions? Maybe one picture between 2 or 3 of them, take a photo, or copy them down if you want to pause the screen and copy the questions quickly. How many questions? 6 questions. You can discuss afterwards with your partner. Okay, I'm going to go back to the text now and give you 3 minutes per slide to read for detail, read slowly. You already know something about it, and answer these questions. Okay. So pause 3 minutes for this slide. Okay, now 3 minutes for this slide. Okay, and 3 minutes for the last slide. Okay. Okay, so now 5 minutes to discuss with your partner the answers. Go, pause the screen. Okay. It's very good to get learners to talk to each other about the answers, because they can help each other and help each other look through the text to find the answers. We're going to continue with the text now. Do you think this boy traveled around South America alone? He wanted to. Do you think it's a good idea? And do you think a boy in a wheelchair could climb this? This is in Peru. It's a beautiful, beautiful abandoned city in the mountains. And it's somewhere he really wanted to go. A few minutes, pause the screen. What do you think? Discuss with your partner. Okay, so now you're going to read the continuation of the story to see if you're right or not. Again, first, you're going to read quickly. Don't pay attention to the errors. We're going to come back and read it again in a minute to correct them. Okay, 2 slides to find the answers. Don't find the errors yet. Just skim through. And next slide. Okay. Did he go? Could he climb up Machu Picchu in Peru in a wheelchair? Yes, of course he did. This is what the story is about. And it's really empowering to see how much he can do. So now we're going to use this text. I have put some mistakes, some errors in each slide. And your job is to find and correct all the errors on each slide. So you need some time and you need to talk to your partner about this. We'll do a couple together first. Where's the first error? Yeah, it's in line 1. It should be in a wheelchair. Okay, so the article a is missing there. In a wheelchair. Can you find the second error? It's line 3 here. It could be that at is wrong. Either delete the at and just have when we met the first time, or have when we met for the first time. Okay, it's that sort of error, some grammar, yeah. There are 8 errors on this slide. I want you to find the other 6 errors. I'll give you 5 minutes in pairs. See how many errors you can find and correct. Pause the screen now, pause the video. Okay, did you find some? Now we've got the next, the end of the story. Find 8 more mistakes with your partner and correct them. 5 minutes, pause the video. Okay, did you find all 16 errors? It's quite difficult to do this, and students would find this very difficult, but it's noticing the tiny little errors and practice at proofreading and correcting a text, which is also part of literature, of course. Okay, here are the answers in red. So we've got the 2 at the top that we did together. You weren't in a wheelchair when we met for the first time. And these are all the other mistakes corrected. This one is correct. So if you need to pause the video here, you can, to look at the errors. Okay. What do you think about the story? It's really nice. Look at the end. It was one more small victory in the inner struggle we all live with if we are disabled or not. He felt really free. It was a lot of effort, but he managed it. A really big achievement. Okay. One more thing related to language with this text. Pronouns and reference words. Okay, so sometimes these pronouns are difficult to see what they represent, what they stand for. Let's have a look at the first one together. So the first pronoun, I'm holding here. I refers to the author, Jodie, of course. And then we, on the first line, it's the writer and his dad. And then we have, lots of red words here that you need to decide what they mean, what they refer to. So let's do the next one. Just like he always told me to do. He, who is it talking about? This he, yeah, it's his dad. It refers back to his dad here. Okay, so pause the video. Can you work out what all the other red words mean, what they refer to? Pause now. Okay, did you manage? Easy, difficult? Let's have a look. These are the answers. You can pause if you need to. Did you get them correct? Okay, the great thing about a video lesson is you can rewind if you like. You can go back if you need to have a look, or of course you can watch the whole video again later and pause when you want to. Final thing, what can we do to help? If we know about change that is possible, what can we do to help change what people think about disability, or to support people with disabilities to do what they dream of? Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could help more people? So maybe these, you don't have to do these. This is for students to do something productive after a reading lesson. They could make a poster, write a letter, a tweet, create a social media post. That's just an example of things to do, which of course you can if you want to, and post them in the group. But your homework is to look at my website. Okay, this text, this story comes from my website. Here's the address, eewiki.newint.org. and you can read the full article. It's in simplified English, and then if you get to the bottom, you can click on the original and you will understand it because you've read the easier version. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now and just show you the website briefly. Okay, let me show you. I'm trying to find it. Bear with me a second. Here it is. Okay. So can you see this is the website? The address at the top, eewiki.newint.org. And if you look at the top right, you can see the search box. If you scroll down, you can get it on your phones as well. There are hundreds of easier English articles here. You can click on one of these articles, one of these magazines, and you get all the texts there and click on them. Or in the search, you can put a topic that you want to read about. For example, we are able, and that text, and it goes straight to lots of texts about ability. Can't find it. Okay, so let's look up again. Disability. There's lots of different texts about this. This is from this issue. Oh, it's called Rolling Towards Progress. This is the name of the text we just read. So you can read that. Read it all, scroll down, the same story we just read. And at the bottom, click on the blue link and you get the more difficult version, which then you will understand. So your homework is to go to this website, find something interesting to read, and next week you can tell us about it. Okay, that's the lesson for this week. Have a good week.